glad you met Jim Henson, and also who your favorite Muppet is.
Oh, well, that's kind of a no-brainer, right? Kermie, oh my God. He's just, yeah. Totally kissable, I would say. Yeah, and I know. I kissed that little green lip there, that little. So I was doing a play in New York. I had just left my full-time teaching job. I was then part-time at Tisch School of the Arts, the grad program, because I wanted to go back and do acting. So, because I'd trained all my life, and I'd gone to France, and I'd done all these different things, but I wanted to go back and just sort of actually try to get an agent and do it. So I had just started to do my first things. I'd just been signed with agents, and things were really happening, and my first paying job, really, in New York was a play called Cloud 9 by Carol Churchill, which is quite an extraordinary play. And she was one of the first people in our modern, certainly in my era, where she gender switched, like men played women and women played men in her plays. And it was just so that people would think in a different way, you know. It was not like trying to make fun of anybody. It was just really interesting. And I played 3 characters. Mine was the only one where I actually played a woman all 3 times. But I played 3 different ages, 3 different characters. And it was a fantastic play and a fantastic part. And even the curtain call on this play, like I played my last character was this, she was probably a character about 58 or 60, and they had me in this sort of grayish wig and this whole other frumpy outfit. And the other ones had been, like there'd been another one that was super sexy and this and that, and then another one that was super dumb and naive. And so during the photo, I mean not the photo, actually it's the photos that's distracting me. During the curtain call, we would get almost a standing ovation for the curtain call, because we would walk around, and whatever character you did, there would be dressers ripping off our clothes and putting on the other costumes. So that people didn't know I played all 3 characters, actually. So Jim had happened to see me in this. Now, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that, okay? But the man who had done Dark Crystal, I did not choreograph Dark Crystal. Everyone keeps saying I did. I don't. I did not do that. It was the guy, Brian Meal, I believe his name is. He had told Jim about me because I had been someone who taught movement for actors. I had worked in Europe with masks, comédie dell'arte, all these different forms of theater that were heightened reality, which came in handy for Star Trek. But anyway, he was looking for someone who could choreograph Labyrinth, ultimately, is what it was about. But this is 2 years or so, more, 3 years before. He was sort of priming me, 3 or 4. And so he saw me do the performance, and next thing I knew, he was doing Muppets Take Manhattan. And this was my first sort of official movie role with an agent going up for. So all my friends had said, oh, it's a cattle call. You'll go up and there'll be a room for like this tiny part. You'll have hundreds of people in the room. And I'm like, okay, I'll get ready. I walk in and there's no one, right? And then Jim will see you now. Jim? You know, I was used to people, like you get the underlings with a camera and someone's videotaping you or something. He was right there, oh, it's so nice to meet you. And I of course, was all prepared. And no, you don't have to read. No, that's great. Well, it's wonderful. That'd be great. And I'm like, okay. And so, of course, once again, I thought always it was going to be like that, but it wasn't, okay? That was so sweet. So all of a sudden, I'm cast as Dabney Coleman's secretary. Oh, my God. So there I am, and I have the scenes with Kermie. So that's how I met him, and then I did a bunch of things with him. He had me fly up to Toronto, there was a Sesame Street movie, and then he had me, The Real Test. He told me I was going to have the role of Jennifer Connelly's mother in the film, Labyrinth. And British Equity would not give me the working papers, which actually is something that is not nice, because we give British actors permission to be in our equity all the time, and it is not in return. It's pretty hard. And he had really lobbied for a couple years for this. But in the meantime, I worked on another movie called Dream Child, which is a lovely movie. And he took me to his studio in London, and then he introduced me to people, and he said, well, good, I'll see you in a week. And I'm like, so I had to do all these scenes, and I would rehearse them and direct them. I cast the vocal artist for each voice. We had like 7 people doing the Mad Hatter, At that time, it's very clunky now compared to what they do, but it was state of the art then, and it was really, really complicated. So that was like being in, Beirut or something. It was like really hard. And he came back, and I guess I passed the test. I mean, I almost, my hair almost turned white, but I guess I passed the test. And then I didn't think I was going to do it. I still didn't want it because it was going to be a year of my life. It was going to be like 9-10 months. And then all of a sudden, I had all these great things acting-wise happening. I was going to be in Hannah and Her Sisters. I had 5 scenes in Hannah and Her Sisters. I'd had my costume fitting. I was shooting something on television. And I had just auditioned with Penny Marshall, with Robert De Niro, for Big. He was going to do Big, not Tom Hanks. And I was in a skiing accident. And I had a serious injury. And I lost everything. And I thought about it, and Jim was, well, why don't you come and do, and so I went, okay. So that's what happened. Just as things were in a certain place, I went in another direction. And my life has been a lot that way. A lot of things just sort of, something was there, and I decided to take it, and it changes your life in different ways. So that's what happened. I went and I spent a year, 9 months, working on that. I remember the first day we walked in the studio and there was nothing. The studios were all empty at Elstree. It was amazing. And by the end, it was, it was like Lord of the Rings special effects, and, it was amazing. They had such extraordinary people working on that. And I worked with a lot of little people. There's some dwarfs who did extraordinary work, and it's so hard because they would have tiny hands, but they'd work these big artificial hands. And, it's amazing. And there was the woman who played Hoggle, we actually had the same day for our birthday. And she was lovely, Sherry Weiser. And I had a chance, I was fortunate to work with David Bowie for about, he was on the movie for about a month. I know, unbelievable. His last video, Labyrinth, was amazing. Wow, totally a genius, right? Really amazing. I know, well. And then to have Jennifer Connelly, she's just become such a great actor. It's just fantastic. But my favorite work on that, even though I worked with Ludo, I did the Goblins and all that, my favorite by far was the ballroom scene. I loved it because I got a little more autonomy, and the costumes that they had designed and the masks and all that. But I got to cast these dancer actors, and they were just the greatest. I had a great dance captain, Carolyn Pope, who would do all these. She'd just run them through the stuff. And I guess the only really hard part was having to teach Bowie how to do the dance moves. I had to waltz with him. I mean, that was hard, But, you got to do it if they're paying you, right?
Take one for the team.
Right,
Yeah.
Really. I mean, really.